So you own stock in a company. That makes you an owner, right? But how do you actually get paid? How do the company's profits end up in your bank account? It's a super fundamental question in investing, but the answer? Not so simple. In this explainer, we're going to solve that puzzle. Okay, check out this bagel analogy, because it really gets to the heart of everything we're talking about today. Imagine I offer you 2 bagels. One of them comes with $5 cash right now. The other one, well, it's already twice the size, and it might get even bigger tomorrow. What do? Do you take the guaranteed cash, or do you bet on that bigger bagel? This isn't just about breakfast, folks. It's the exact same choice that companies and their investors face with every single dollar they make.
And hey, if this whole thing already feels kind of confusing, you are definitely not alone. Get this. A staggering 2/3 of millennials say that a lack of knowledge is the #1 thing holding them back from investing. So, you know what? Let's tackle one of the biggest pieces of that puzzle right now head on.
All right, so let's get right down to it. Imagine a company you own stock in just made a $1 billion profit. Awesome, right? But where does that money actually go? Because here's the kicker. As a shareholder, that's your money. But it's not like they just mail you a check. Oh no, the decision is a whole lot more complicated than that. So the folks running the show, the management, they basically have 2 main choices for what to do with that profit. Option 1, they can just give it to you, a direct cash payout. Simple. Option 2, they can keep it and plow it right back into the business. They're making a bet that they can use that cash to make the whole company way more valuable in the future. Okay, so this brings us to our first big section, the shareholder's choice. It really is all about that, cash now or growth later. And let me tell you, understanding this trade-off is absolutely central to building an investment strategy that actually works for you. Yeah, this is it. It's the classic debate in the financial world. Do you want immediate cash or do you want potential future value? There is no single right answer here. It's always a trade-off. A smart, rational investor doesn't waste time trying to guess which one is better in general. Instead, they figure out which side of this debate best matches their own personal financial goals. All right, let's dive into that first path, getting paid directly. This is probably the most famous way, the one that literally puts cash right into your pocket. We're talking, of course, about dividends. So what exactly is a dividend? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like, a direct cash payment. It's the company's board of directors basically saying, hey, we had a fantastic quarter, and as a thank you, we're sharing a slice of the profits directly with you guys, our owners. Honestly, it's that simple. You can just think of it as the company cutting you a check. Or, more likely these days, it's just a direct deposit of cash right into your brokerage account. And once it's there, that money is all yours. Spend it, save it, reinvest it, you do you. So who actually pays out these dividends? What's really interesting is that it's usually a certain type of company. We're talking about the big, mature, stable players. You'll often hear them called value stocks. Look, they might not have a lot of room left for that crazy explosive growth, so instead, they reward their shareholders with a nice, steady income stream. Think of those classic household name companies, the ones that sell stuff you buy every week, or your local utility company. Okay, but what happens if the company doesn't send you that check? Let's flip the coin over and look at the other side, growing value through reinvestment. This is the path that's all about making your piece of that company worth a lot more tomorrow than it is today. And this path is all about a fancy term called capital appreciation. But don't let the jargon scare you. It's just the indirect way you make money. The company doesn't hand you cash today. Instead, it uses its profits to make your shares, your piece of that bigger bagel we talked about, worth more down the line. Yeah, a great way to think about it is like this. Your stock is a small sliver of the entire company pie. When a company reinvests its profits and does it well, the whole pie gets bigger. And if the whole pie is bigger, well, that means your little sliver is worth more, even if you didn't get any cash. So how do they actually do that? How do they make the pie bigger? Well, these are what we call growth companies, and they pour their profits right back into the business. They might build a brand new factory or develop some groundbreaking app that changes everything, or maybe expand into a whole new country. But there's another really popular way they do it, and this one's a little less obvious. They buy back their own stock. So what's the deal with buybacks? This is a huge one, and it trips a lot of people up. I mean, how is a company buying its own stock good for you, the investor who, remember, did not get any cash out of the deal? Okay, so here's the key difference. A dividend is super simple, cash in your pocket. A buyback, though, is a little more clever. The company takes its profits and goes out and buys its own shares on the stock market. Then it basically just makes those shares vanish. So with fewer total shares out there, your shares now represent a bigger piece of the pie. And in theory, that makes each of your shares more valuable.
All right, so we've met our two contenders. In this corner, we have income today through dividends. And in this corner, we have wealth tomorrow through reinvestment. So now it's time to put them head-to-head in the ultimate growth versus value showdown.
This table really lays it all out. On the one side, you've got value stocks, the dividend payers. They tend to be less volatile, a bit more predictable. They provide that income today. Yeah, they can be a little boring, but hey, boring can be steady. Then you've got the growth stocks. The return potential, way higher, but the volatility, also way higher. These stocks are often priced for perfection, which means if they have even one tiny stumble, the stock price can take a massive hit. It really comes down to that core idea: income today versus wealth tomorrow. Okay, so after seeing that showdown, you're probably wondering, which team should I be on, right? What does all this mean for you and your money? How do you actually build a smart, rational strategy out of these two totally different approaches? Well, here's the big secret. You don't actually have to pick a side. In fact, most of the smartest investors out there will tell you the best strategy isn't about choosing dividends or growth. It's about finding the right mix of both. So the big takeaway is this: a really solid, balanced portfolio usually has a bit of both. Mixing those growth and value stocks helps you diversify, and that can protect you when the market gets shaky. The absolute key for you as an investor is to look past the flashy headlines and just ask a simple question. What is this company's management doing with my money? Are they reinvesting it smartly to build for the future? Or are they just handing out cash because, well, they've run out of good ideas? And that brings us right back to where we started, with that simple question. When you look at your own financial goals, your own life, which bagel are you reaching for? Are you chasing that immediate cash, or are you betting on that long-term growth? Look, there's no wrong answer here, but knowing your answer, that's the real first step to building an investment strategy that actually makes sense for you.